Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz at Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. It means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Appreciate you spending some time with us on your Friday afternoon. Hopefully that work week is in the rearview mirror. If it's not, we'll help you get to the finish line. It's Hunt Palmer, Jacob Beck, and Casey Gaines back there on the ones and twos. We have got plenty to get to. Preston Guy in 15 minutes. He is over there at tigerbait.com. We got a lot of football to talk about with Preston. Joe Sloan, LSU quarterbacks coach, is going to be with us in 30 minutes. Excited to talk to Coach Sloan. Is pretty impressive milestone in his career likely to take place tomorrow. Already taking place in that his player at his position is nominated as a finalist for the Heisman Trophy. We think he's going to win it, and we're excited to talk with Coach Sloan here 30 minutes from right now. LSU and Kansas State will play a basketball game tomorrow. I will get you ready for that. Our NFL tiers will come at you at hour number 2. And Michael Cobell is up in New York City for the Heisman Trophy award presentation, and we will chat with him at 2:30 today. So lots and lots to do here on this Friday, presented by Corks. We start with some recruiting news for LSU. Earlier today, you're probably well aware that LSU received a commitment from Gabriel Relaford. He is a defensive lineman from up in my neck of the woods, Shreveport. He is an Evangel Eagle. Of course, Jacob Hester, our own, was an Evangel Eagle once upon a time. And this was a really, really nice get by LSU. Relaford has been a fast riser this year. He was committed to Texas A&M, decommitted last weekend when Elijah Robinson, his position coach, decided he would not be at A&M anymore and was going to take the defensive coordinator job at Syracuse. And so that door was open, and LSU had done a very, very good job of continuing to stay on Gabriel Relaford. He had come in for a couple of games this year. He had taken an official visit to LSU, and even though he was committed to Texas A&M, LSU continued to keep the full court press down to try to get his services, and they, in fact, did that. And while I could listen to your argument, if you say, oh, well, this is just because A&M fired their coach and lost their position coach. Look, however you can get these guys in the boat, you get them in the boat. I'm certainly, as much as we freak out when LSU misses on in-state guys, I'm certainly not going to try to do some mental gymnastics to understand why they got this one. The fact of the matter is that the staff did an excellent job of going to get Gabriel Relaford at a spot that LSU, quite frankly, needs to get a lot better than they were last year. And by all indications, Relaford's going to be an excellent player. I think we all realize that LSU did a poor job in 2023 at recruiting in-state for a multitude of reasons. Arch Manning, never going to come here. You missed on Derek Williams, safety, who ended up going to Austin. Eli Holstein, well, he had already changed high schools where Walker Howard was. Didn't feel like you were going to reel him in either. Tackett Curtis had made it very clear that he wanted to go out of state. You know, Jaden Ausberry, his dad played at LSU and schedules LSU's football games. You weren't able to get him. Jordan Matthews, another one at LSU. LSU only got 4 of the top 10 players in the state of Louisiana last year. 4 of 10. And that's got to be a point of emphasis. You know this. I know this. We all know this. But there is no way to win at LSU without dominating the in-state recruiting hall. No way. It can't be done. You cannot go far and wide to try to cast your net to bring guys in here, miss out on the in-state, and build a consistent program at LSU. The brand's strong enough nationally to supplement the state and run your football program. It's not strong enough to only rely on the national recruiting. You've got to start here. In this class, they've done that. What happened the first day that LSU staff could reach out and start recruiting? None of them left the borders. That was Brian Kelly's order. We stay right here. We visit our high schools. We hit every region, every impact program, every impact player, talk to as many coaches as we can. We stay here first. And now you look up, and you're knocking on the door of National Signing Day. And according to On3's rankings, Dominic McKinley, defensive lineman from Acadiana, is committed to Texas A&M. We'll see if that sticks, but that's where he's committed. The number 2 player in the state's Trey'Dez Green. Zachary, tight end, LSU. Deshaun McBride, safety from Denham Springs, LSU. Wardell Mack, over at John Ehret, 4-star corner. He committed to Florida. Now he's flipped over to Texas. So those 2 guys in the top 4 of the state have committed out of state. However, Tylen Singleton is ranked 5th. He's a linebacker, LSU commit. Gabe Relaford, committed today to LSU. He's number 6. He's committed to LSU. Joel Rogers, safety from West Feliciana, committed to LSU. Kylan Billiot, wide receiver from Homa, Terrebonne High School, committed to LSU. Kalaj Cobbins, Destrehan, linebacker, committed to LSU. Jawan Johnson was committed at one point to Florida. He's committed to LSU. Michael Turner from Curtis, wide receiver, committed to LSU. Right now, as it stands, LSU has commitments from 8 of the top 10 players of the state and 11 of the top 15. That's excellent. You've got to start in this state to make this thing go. I will submit to you, Texas A&M's class from 2 years ago that was the best anyone had ever seen. And they were reeling in 5 stars from all over the map in that class. When the dust finally settled, they had 9 5-star recruits in that class. And if you look at them, Walter Nolan is from Tennessee. He's leaving. Shamar Stewart from Florida, not left yet, but we'll see. Evan Stewart, thinking about leaving. LT Overton from Georgia. He's in the transfer portal. Denver Harris, already gone. Anthony Lucas, already gone. Jake Johnson's a 4-star in the transfer portal. You start to look at that class, and you look at the names at the top of it with Chris Marshall, who left after 1 year, and a lot of guys who were from outside the state of Texas came in and left. And certainly, there are plenty of players from the state of Louisiana who will commit to LSU, sign with LSU, play at LSU, and then leave. That will happen. But when you don't have the ties geographically, it's easier to bail. That's just human nature. Home is home. So 1, you need to dominate it because there are really good players there. 2, you need to dominate it because there are really good players who, statistically speaking, and you can't paint with an entire brush each individual situation, but statistically speaking, players are far more likely to stick if it's home. And you've got, at LSU, one of the great built-in advantages in all of collegiate athletics. The fact that you're the flagship school, the only Power 5 team in a state that churns out studs. Gabriel Relaford might start next year, be here for 3 years, and be the 9th pick in the draft. He might transfer after a year and make 1 career tackle. I don't know. But what I'm telling you is I'm willing to bet the program on getting as many of these guys in the door as you possibly can. And we know that Brian Kelly's history of winning is not in question. His history of surrounding himself with very good coaches is not in question. His organizational skills are not in question. His experience leading a powerful program is not in question. The only real question you could legitimately pose about his acumen and qualification for this job is, okay, can he come into a part of the country that he's never spent a full-time job in? He's certainly popped in here and there and recruited players, but can he come down here, swim in these waters, and own the state? And I'm not telling you there's a fence on the state and that nobody's coming in and getting anybody, but you look up and you sign 8 of the top 10 players in the state and 11 of the top 15, it's a pretty good start. And this is one that looked like it was going to get away, and at this point is not, because signing day is coming up rapidly, and Gabriel Relaford committed to LSU today. I think that's a very, very, very good sign for LSU. This is a guy that Shea Dixon and his crew over at On3 were very, very high on when he was going through the camp circuit and when he committed to Texas A&M. LSU staff never gave up on him. They were relentless in their pursuit, and now the payoff comes as Gabriel Relaford commits to LSU, 4-star defensive lineman from up there at Evangel in Shreveport. Some news on the flip side of that. As we said, some players will come in from your state and look elsewhere. Quincy Wiggins did announce earlier today that he is going to enter the portal. It's a guy we know from right here in Madison Prep, started playing football late in his developmental career stages in high school, but absolutely unbelievable frame and athletic ability. LSU fought really, really hard, and they were able to reel him in. 2 years in the program, just not really much production at all. 1 tackle for loss to his name as an LSU Tiger, and he's going to look elsewhere. Is it very possible that Quincy Wiggins becomes a star? It is. Had he to this point? No, and he'd kind of been passed over by some younger players on the depth chart, and that's part of this whole deal. And so certainly wish Quincy Wiggins all the best, and you understand the potential that he's got. It just wasn't ever realized, and that's a Louisiana kid. So you can't speak in absolutes in recruiting, but I can tell you that you start in this state with the top-end players in this state, and you work from there, generally speaking, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. So LSU's pulls in Gabe Relaford to this class of 2024. LSU now has, let's see, do I have a number here? No number. This is the state ranking. So I was looking for a number of commitments. They're over 25 at this point, which is legal. You can have as many signees as you have scholarships available. You can do that for the transfer portal. You can do that via the high school ranks. However you'd like to chop it up, you can do it. And LSU would prefer to make the base and the foundation of the program high school players that can develop, but you can always supplement, and they always will supplement via the transfer portal. So as roster building season continues, we'll stay on top of it here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Our Friday show is brought to you by Corks. Preston Guy of TigerBait.com going to jump aboard next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Jersey Mike's, Highway 30 in Gonzales near the new Heritage Shopping Center. Famous cheesesteaks, grilled fresh to order, tender steak, peppers, onions, white American cheese. Whew, good stuff there at Jersey Mike's. Or Bacon Ranch Chicken Cheesesteak if you're looking for something hot. They've also got great cold subs for your ordering pleasure as well. If you're looking for a catering option, no matter what the occasion is, if it's a class party, if it's a birthday party, if you're feeding the office, if you just got a big family, whatever the case may be, if you're looking for catering, Jersey Mike's can help you out with that, and our friends at Highway 30 in Gonzales are happy to do it. They were feeding high school playoff teams up and through the playoffs. They can do that for you as well. If they need to show up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start baking bread, they'll do it, which they did for a couple of high school teams when I was there a few weeks ago, Santa Monica and Dutchtown to be specific. So look, if you're looking for catering, make that Jersey Mike's. Highway 30 in Gonzales near the new Heritage Shopping Center. You can download the Jersey Mike's app or catch them on DoorDash or any of your delivery services. Make it Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
like cyber stumps.
The Dome, it's state championship week in high school football, and we get things started at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock. And at 7, it's the select Division I state championship game between the Catholic High Bears and Acadiana Wrecking Rams. All right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
LSU quarterback coach Joe Sloan going to be with us in 15 minutes. But first, let's jump out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline and talk to our guy Preston Guy from TigerBait.com as we do every single Friday. Preston, how are you?
Hey, hon, how's it going? Looking forward to the celebrations tonight, hopefully. Pretty sure about tomorrow, though.
Yeah, tomorrow looks good, and I'm hopeful about tonight, and we'll talk about all of it here. Have your mentions cooled down on social media?
Yeah, they have. The few I'm getting, the intelligence of them has not gone up. I'll tell you that much. But, I felt like I really needed to aggressively attack the mentions when I felt Jaden deserved it and he needed help. At this point, he doesn't need my help. He's helped himself enough. I think it's his award, and I can stop dunking on the idiot.
What will you remember about this year for Jaden?
Man. How he overcame a lot. He overcame that Florida State opener where, frankly, it was his worst game of the year. He didn't play great, although the numbers looked pretty good at the end of the day. When you chart his passes, chart what he did that day, it wasn't the best performance. But he bounced back and overcame a lot of adversity, and through it all was just an absolutely spectacular every moving forward. And he overcame a lot of things during the season. I remember the first half against Arkansas. He looked rattled, shaken up, and he brushed it off and had an incredible game. And, more importantly, he had to overcome this defense and still found a way to win 9 games. I don't think this Heisman run is going to be quite as special as the Burrow run, but it's definitely, the next best, most outstanding performance I've ever seen of any player at LSU.
Yeah, so what's his legacy then? I feel like we've probably seen him for the last time in purple and gold. Maybe not, but what's his legacy at this point?
I hope not. Not necessarily because I'm rooting for LSU or anything like that, but for the sport of college football, it's a bad precedent to send that reigning Heisman winner will sit out the bowl game. I do think there's some extra motivation there that Malik Neighbors really wants to play this game and break the record for career receiving yards, which he's 22 yards shy of. And he actually had a pretty strong quote after the Texas A&M game, essentially saying he feels like he'd be leaving his teammates behind if he opted out. So I'm really hoping that something comes back and fights this opt-out culture because it's bad for the sport. It really is. And it is one of the many reasons why a 12-team playoff was needed before this season. Of course, now with Florida State getting left out at 13-0, which I'm pretty passionately against, it shows that it not only are you needing it for more interest, you're needing it because you can't get it right. The kid 4 wasn't enough, as it turns out.
You mentioned that Malik Neighbors 22 yards away from being the all-time receiving leader in the history of LSU football. Blitnikoff Award will be awarded later today. Your thoughts on that big picture?
Yeah, so all season long, my thoughts were, Malik has put up the best season statistically, but we're sitting here arguing what a great deep ball passer Jaden Daniels is with, he had 22 touchdowns and 0 interceptions on passes that traveled 20 or more yards this year. It's unbelievable what he's been able to do throwing the ball deep, and Malik's been on the receiving end of that. And quite frankly, Marvin Harrison Jr., he's got the name recognition. He's got the past year success to work on his brand. That's probably what's going to end up doing the heavy lifting for him. But then I was like, well, he's catching balls from Kyle McCord. So it's understandable, right? Someone brought up another point to me. Okay, but who's he sharing catches with? Because Brian Thomas Jr. has stats that are closer to Marvin Harrison Jr.'s than Marvin Harrison Jr. is to Malik Neighbors. And Neighbors had to split balls with that. So the next best leading receiver for Ohio State is Emeka Ibuka. I probably butchered his name, but he's got like 462 receiving yards on the year. There was no Brian Thomas at Ohio State. Everything was going to Marvin Harrison Jr. When you look at it like that, I run out of excuses. I'm like, all right, well, Neighbors really, unbiased, Neighbors really deserves this. I don't think he wins it, but I think he deserves it.
What's got more of your attention over the next 30 days or so? Is it the transfer portal and signing day, or is it LSU and Wisconsin?
Well, I mean, TigerBait.com, recruiting and portal for sure. I mean,
Yep.
That's what we do. The thing is about Wisconsin, it's a favorable matchup given you don't know what LSU's opt-out scenario is going to look like. You have no idea who's going to strap it up, and that's a matchup where if Garrett Nussmeier has to roll out there and lead the boys, I still feel LSU wins comfortably. If Jaden Daniels is there, take the -10, take LSU minus the points and roll with it, because I think LSU will crush them if that's the case. But if not, I still think LSU wins. I don't know if they cover a full 10 points, but if you look on ESPN Bowl Pick'em Challenge, whatever, that's actually the game. 96% of fans are picking LSU to win that game. It's the biggest landslide of any of the picks. So I like that a lot. But there's going to be a lot going on with roster and staffing changes for LSU. 6 guys have entered the portal for LSU already. That's a manageable number, and the guys who are going in are all manageable losses. I think that's as big a deal as who you bring in is who you keep. I think, what's the old business saying? It costs 3 times less to keep a current client than it is to bring a new one in. I think that applies for college football. I think you got to retain your roster and develop them in the system. Quincy Wiggins is a guy I would have liked to see stay around an extra year and develop, but I mean, he's been here 2 years, had every opportunity to show out, and he hasn't. So, then there's guys, Deshaun Womack behind him, who's getting probably more snaps than him right now. So that's kind of one of those writing on the wall situations. But I would look, coaches want them to take 5 to 8 transfer portal players. I think they're going to end up probably, just because of unexpected attrition and unexpected entries to the portal, I think they probably end up at 10, even though they want 5 to 8. So that's going to be a lot going on in the next, before the season starts, next 30 days. And then this signing class is not done yet, although they picked up a really good commitment here yesterday, but just they're not done yet.
Do you think they'll take a quarterback in the transfer portal?
Yeah, I do. The word is MJ Morris, the quarterback from NC State who's entered the portal. He's not been a career, guy who's been starting and performing at a high level. This isn't like taking a Sam Hartman or a Jaden Daniels, a guy who is going to be your starter. He's a guy who's behind Garrett Nussmeier in terms of experience and, years of eligibility remaining. He's a guy who fits the system very well. He's about a 1,500-yard, 15 touchdown, 6 interception passer. He's been okay. He's been decent for NC State, right? That confirms to me the notion that we've been suspecting with this portal situation is they want a quarterback to come in and add depth and push Nussmeier from behind without pushing him all the way into the portal. I mean, if you land a Cam Ward, what do you think? What would you tell your son to do if he's Garrett Nussmeier? So I think that MJ Morris will be a guy to come and push Nussmeier from behind, and he's going to have a chance to earn it. But that being said, it's not like this is a high pressure, you're one and done. This is your chance to improve your chance to the NFL and the SEC, or you're just not going.
How do you feel about the futures of Mekhi Wingo and Mason Smith today?
I feel better about Mason Smith simply because that NFL money just isn't there for him right now. I'd like to see Mason Smith get a full conditioning season, although Mike Scarborough gets me on this because he's like, well, he's got a full football season. Well, during football season, you're not conditioning hard, right? He missed a lot of that through rehab and then getting injured in fall camp. And quite frankly, I just think he was a little too big. I think he needs to lean up a little bit and maybe get some of that explosiveness back. So I'd like to see him come back. I would understand if he would hit the portal, maybe just getting a new system and change things around. But the thing is about Mason if he sticks around, he'll probably be on the field. It's not like playtime is an issue for him. In terms of Mekhi Wingo, I've seen people drafting him as high as the second round. Yes, you would love to keep a guy like that, but the fact of the matter is most of the time when you have a chance to go make second-round money and get your NFL career started, those guys are going to take that opportunity. So we'll just have to see.
All right, Preston, we appreciate your time. Have a great weekend, man.
All right, Hunt, you too.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, team coverage, recruiting coverage. They got it all for you over there at Tiger Bait. Preston's with us each and every Friday at 1:15. Our Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Looking for a late lunch? Government between Foster and Jefferson, Corks is a fantastic option. Clean, crispy fried catfish, jumbo Gulf shrimp, crispy shoestring fries. Awesome, awesome stuff over there at Corks. Looking for things on the lighter side? They can make you a salad with some delicious shrimp on it. Or you can do your catfish or shrimp with no batter on it, which still has that delicious seasoning. Doesn't have the batter right there with it. If you're looking for catering, Corks can help you with that as well. Big trays full of catfish, shrimp, and fries. Awesome to feed the office, which happened at my wife's office last week. Awesome for tailgate parties or watch parties if you're watching the Saints on Sunday. Corks is a fantastic option. Check out the website, corksfishandshrimp.com. The menu is there. Their large catering orders are there. If your family's coming over for Christmas and you're looking for feed a lot of people, Corks can do that. Just give them a day's notice and they will have you all set up and ready to go. Appreciate Corks for being part of our Friday shows. When we come back, LSU quarterbacks coach Joe Sloan is going to be with us talking Jaden Daniels. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana like Marucci Sports. You know Marucci. You know about the bats. You know about the gloves. You know about the equipment. You may not know about the baseball performance lab, but that's one of the things that makes Marucci stand out. They've got folks coming in from all over the country to try it out, to work in the baseball performance lab, because they're on the cutting edge of all the technology things in the sport of baseball, and that makes them a champion of Louisiana. The other part of this deal is the tourism impact that Marucci can have with their Marucci World Series. It brings thousands of youth athletes, parents, coaches here to Baton Rouge to watch baseball and spend some money in our economy. Marucci Sports is a champion of Louisiana. If you know a champion of Louisiana, we're telling stories here at LWCC.com. LWCC is giving us that opportunity, and you can nominate one at LWCC.com/champions. LWCC is Louisiana loyal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always custom.
So join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Matt is live from Legends in New York. LSU offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock and quarterbacks coach Joe Sloan join the show. It's Friday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Heisman Watch for LSU's Jaden Daniels, and we want to give you a front row seat live from Legends in New York City. Catch After Further Review with Matt Moscona today at 3 p.m., just a few hours from now. And then Saturday, tomorrow, when he will host the Heisman Preview Show at 5 p.m. live on Eagle 98.1 and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Our coverage is brought to you locally by Acura of Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
And Matt's going to have an awesome show for you from Legends coming up in an hour and a half. He'll be set up there in Manhattan as there's a lot of buzz going on. I know that Jaden and Bo Nix and Marvin Harrison and Michael Penix were all at Cane's this morning serving out chicken fingers. Matt was there for that. They all met with the media earlier today, and Matt was there for that. He'll have Mike Denbrock on. He'll have our next guest, Joe Sloan, on as well, plus some other guests from up there in New York. I talked to Matt this morning. They got a big old steak last night at Gallagher's, and I was telling him we went 2 years ago for the bye weekend. My wife was pregnant, and we went to Gallagher's. She was like 7 months pregnant. Myers was born in December, sorry. He was born in December, and we went on Halloween weekend. So she was pregnant, and we went to Gallagher's, which is a big steakhouse in New York, and I got the tomahawk ribeye that had the bone was 2 feet long coming off the back of it. And her plate, I looked over, she had a little thing of macaroni and cheese and a little thing of cauliflower. That was it. And we still have a picture in our phones of my like massive piece of meat and her little 2 bites of carbs. For the pregnant girl. It's always a really, really cool time this time of year to be up there in New York, and Matt's going to have a big old show coming to you at Legends, and we'll also have a show tomorrow leading into the Heisman ceremony, and we weren't sure if Jaden was going to make it when we started putting these plans together about a month ago, and then things started to materialize, and it kind of crystallized after he came back from the injury against Alabama and put up the numbers he did in the game against Florida. They're like, okay, this is really going to happen. So I'm looking forward to listening to Matt today and tomorrow. It's a really, really cool time for the LSU program at this point. And this is going to be a really cool day tomorrow when I think Jaden Daniels wins the 3rd Heisman in school history. And it's such a cool thing to have this happen. You realize that you're likely going to have another statue out there next to Cannon, and we assume that Burrow will get one. And while it's not associated with the Halloween night run that Cannon had and Burrow's national championship, it's a little bit of a different deal. To me, it doesn't diminish it. It's such an unbelievable accomplishment that Jaden could be named the most outstanding player in college football, and it's such a very, very cool thing for LSU to have that happen. And we're going to chat with Joe Sloan here in a second. He texted the show, full disclosure, a second ago, said, hey, give me a couple minutes. I'm recruiting, which is what these guys are doing nonstop in December. It's just that time of year with the transfer portal and with the recruiting situation and the early signing day. That's what these guys have to do. And so we let them do that. But when they have a free second, they can jump on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge via the Jim's Firearms Hotline, and Joe Sloan does so right now. He's LSU's quarterbacks coach and a busy guy, but we appreciate some time, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Hunt. How are you?
Doing very well. I'm curious. We're going to obviously talk a lot of Jaden here, but we mentioned that you're on the road recruiting, and that's a huge emphasis in December. Whereas 10 years ago, you may have been trying to get ready for a bowl game, but because of the early signing period, it is what it is. I've got to imagine this entire season offensively and what Jaden is set to accomplish tomorrow has helped a little bit in recruiting. Is that fair to say?
I would say there's definitely a lot of people who were paying attention. You know, a lot of young quarterbacks that were paying attention, a lot of young offensive players that were paying attention. You know, I think I will say this: I think they saw it this off season. You know what I mean? As they were visiting us, they saw it coming. But then when all of a sudden it becomes tangible and they can actually go, okay, well, all right, well, we can not only be a top 15 offense, top 10 offense, we can be number one in the country, and I can do that, and I can see myself doing that. Yeah, it gets pretty exciting. So. But that's a credit to the players that we've had out there. You know, the guys who were out there performing that way, and so then some young guys see that, hey, I can do that at LSU. So it definitely makes our job a little bit easier.
Well, y'all created this, so I don't know if it makes it a lot easier. It's something that y'all created, and Jaden was a huge part of that. He had a decision to make last January after the bowl game, whether or not he wanted to go to the NFL after 4 years of being a starting quarterback in college, or he wanted to come back and play again, and he decided to come back. I'm curious what your discussions were with him after he made that decision, hey, I'm going to come back. What was the main thing that you wanted to get accomplished between January and Labor Day?
Well, I think, and this is, this stems down from Coach Kelly's belief and structure. You know, it's important to have a vision of what you want to accomplish, but then you have to have a process of how you're going to do that. And we kind of mirrored it based on the process that Coach has for the entire program. Obviously, the vision was for him to really improve in all of his facets of his game, from his mental approach and emotional approach to his physical structure to the technical aspects, and then, as Coach would say, the tactical aspects and understanding of our offense and football in general. And then we really just broke it down into those 4 categories, talked about strengths and weaknesses. But I think the big thing was, the collaboration with Jaden and us as coaches, and his involvement with it. And then what we're able to do is take those things that we need to either highlight or things we need to improve and kind of put them more into action items, right? Hey, I want to gain 20 pounds. Okay. Well, I want to gain 20 pounds in 6 months, or I want to gain 20 pounds in 7 months. Okay. Well, let's break that down. That's 3 pounds a month. So that means every week I know if I don't gain a pound, I know I got to step it up more the next week, right, in terms of nutrition. And it's something I can track, something I can work towards, as opposed to just, well, I need to improve my footwork. Well, that's very broad, right? Let's break it down into things that we can accomplish on a daily basis, put it on a calendar, and let's attack it that way. And we did that. We put that out there, and he was a part of that. And then he went to work and did it.
I'm going to go to 2 quotes we heard in press conferences. One last year where Brian Kelly said, yeah, Jaden doesn't have an interception, but that might not be a good thing. We may not be taking enough chances. That's one quote. And then Mike Denbrock said before the season, we were very, very good last year at catching the ball with our backs to the end zone. And so we did it a lot. We need to get guys catching the ball on the run. And I take those 2 quotes and then I look at an offense that completed more balls over 20 yards than any in the country, and those 2 things obviously very much happened. What was that process like?
Yeah, so I think, one, he still didn't throw any interceptions, so that's positive. We didn't change that one. That was good. All right, but there was 4, and a tip ball, a couple of things here and there, right? But he protected the football well, which I think was really good. But obviously, when Coach Kelly was talking about that, it was just about his trust to take risks. I do think the thing is his interceptions went up in practice, kind of at the end of last year and this offseason, because I think he started to push himself to maybe challenge throws during practice. And I think as he allowed practice to make him better, right, and take those chances in practice, that's how you get better, right? That's how you get better, and he did that. And I think you saw that show. I think what Coach Denbrock was talking about was something we talked about as an offensive staff and made a huge effort of making sure that we put our guys in position to catch runners, to hit receivers running. And we did that a few different ways. One, adjusting our shallows, working on throwing and catching slants. Some of it was, I guess, structural, right, from a coaching staff perspective, and trying to highlight certain things and work on them in spring. And then some of it was our guys working together and Jaden and the receivers developing that trust. And that was the biggest thing, right, is them developing that just being in sync and being on the same page with one another on all the different routes that we have. And I think us giving them that detailed plan of what they needed to do. And again, they're the ones that got to go out and do the work. And they did that. And a lot of it, a lot of it speaks to just their hard work altogether. And I think some of it speaks to Jaden's leadership.
Joe Sloan's our guest, LSU quarterbacks coach. In fall camp, did you see this coming?
So it's funny. I going into spring, right? Just kind of watching the way he was working. I said, well, I hope all this shows up in spring. I hope all this work that I see him doing shows up in spring practice, right? Then you watch him in spring, you're like, well, man, it's just really a lot of good stuff. Now we just got to carry this into the summer, fine tune some things, reset our goals a little bit, and then let's carry it into August. And you kept saying, okay, well, all this work, is it going to show up on Saturdays? And because you see it, and you're like, if this shows up on Saturdays, he's gonna make a huge jump from already being a really, really good quarterback to being the best in the country. And that's kind of the vision that we had as we watched, because you watch him at practice and you see what's happening, and it's like, hey, if we can put this together on Saturdays, it's going to do it. And I think the beginning of the season, especially Mississippi State, really was the one that kind of straw that broke the camel's back a little bit. And it was no looking back from there.
We've been talking about the Heisman Trophy for a month here pretty much every single day. And Jaden had to go out there and play and had to feel some of that. How much pressure do you think was on him late in the season?
Well, I think if you're focused on, and I'm going to use the word again, right? But if you're focused on your process every week, and if you have a successful process, then you don't have to worry about pressure. You don't have to worry about whatever, because shouldn't you have been playing your best and preparing your best every week? So why should it change, right? And I think that's where, when you can develop that and you develop that trust in that process, and you know that it's working, you know how you're studying film, you know how we're working in practice, you know how your preparation's going, you know what you do on Mondays and on Tuesdays and on Wednesdays and on Thursdays, you know how you think between Friday and the game. You know what type of mindset you have during warm-up. If you're doing all those things, then all you do is just repeat. You don't have to say, well, I got to do something different or better this game. No, you don't have to do anything better. All we got to do is continue to focusing on our process and pay more attention to detail and attack it that much harder. And that's what he did. And I think that's what was really, really neat to watch, is as the big moments came, he didn't have to rise to the moment. He just, as Coach would say, doubled down on his process.
Is there something we don't know about Jaden at this point?
No, I don't know. You guys ask all the questions, so I think you guys got it all at this point.
Coach, we really appreciate some time. I know you're busy. Congratulations on an unbelievable season, and enjoy tomorrow, okay?
Thank you. He's an unbelievable young man. It's been really fun to watch him grow and develop from already a really successful football player, and then really watch him grow and over the last 2 years. So it's been awesome. He has everything. He deserves everything coming to him. And it's definitely been fun to watch. And I know that would probably be echoed by all the LSU fans out there.
We're going to enjoy tomorrow. We've enjoyed it all year. Thanks for a little bit of time, Coach.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
He's Joe Sloan, LSU's quarterbacks coach. It's been a magical year. And we ask the 2019 guys all the time, once the dust had settled, they're like, did you see this coming in the fall? And I don't know that really anybody did, other than Joe saying it at media days, like, we want to be the best in the country, and everybody's like, whatever. Now, knowing what you know about Joe now, it's not a surprising quote, because that's just kind of how he's wired. I was impressed with the offense in fall camp, but it led me to be concerned about the defense more than I was locked in on, like, this could be a historic offense. Like that didn't click because I had already seen Jaden Daniels. I had seen Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors and Mason Taylor and Will Campbell. And like, I kind of knew. I was like, well, yeah, they're good. Like, that's a good offense. Well, they never get stopped in the practice. What's the deal? Turns out that it was a little bit tilted both ways. The defense wasn't very good and the offense was historically great. And so I think it may have been more evident this year in some ways than it was in 2019, but it has been an absolute treat to watch, and we certainly appreciate Joe Sloan for jumping aboard. He'll be on with Matt coming up here in a couple of hours as well. So he's hard at work. He was recruiting 13 minutes ago, and he jumped on with us, and I've got a feeling he'd probably pick up the phone again and make another phone call. But as he said at the top of that interview, recruiting's pretty fun right now because a lot of people want to be a part of what's going on at LSU. So thanks to quarterbacks coach Joe Sloan for jumping aboard with us there for a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more about LSU, close out hour number one on it's kind of a football Friday. If they're going to award the Heisman, it could be a football Friday. Either way, it's presented by Corks.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Been thinking about joining FanDuel? No better time to get in on the action than right now. The app's so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options. They include spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/1045ESPN and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the National Football League. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. $5 pre-game money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues, knowledgeable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're someone who has a gaming problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri.
ours for a Monday edition of Off the Bench. As T-Bob and Hester, both back in the host chair, we recap the Heisman Trophy ceremony from New York City. Plus, we recap the weekend in the NFL, including Saints versus Panthers. 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
We're going to close out our number one here, and I guess you could consider this a homer segment if you wanted to. I really don't know that it is. My allegiance is pretty obvious, especially if you're watching on YouTube. I have on LSU shirt and pullover and hat, as I usually do on Fridays, but I think this is just reality, more so than being a blind homer. If you go back to 2019, that team that LSU put out on the field with Burrow going undefeated, winning the Heisman Trophy, hitting the gritty, get the gat in the White House, the hype videos, that was a cool team. It just was. People around the country appreciated how good and how cool that team was, right? Burrow smoking a cigar in the Superdome, the whole thing was cool. And then you get into the age of NIL pretty quickly after that, and Livy Dunn is the poster child for NIL at LSU in gymnastics. And you fast forward a little bit further, and you've got LSU's women's basketball team with a polarizing figure at the top, with Kim Mulkey with her loud outfits, Angel Reese, Can't See Me, Ring Me. That was a cool team. And they won a national championship. And then Angel Reese and Livy Dunn get featured on Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition. Like, that's a pretty cool thing. And then baseball comes along, and they win a national championship. And Dylan Cruz hits the ring. And everybody in that world is talking about how dominant that team is. And you've got the Golden Spikes winner in Cruz and a National Pitcher of the Year in Skeens. And then they go first and second in the draft. So whether this is about talking national championship, cool dancing in the football world, which is massive, whether this is a brand new thing with NIL and who's in the forefront of this and Instagram, that's a long way from football. It's Instagram. LSU's got a huge presence on that. And Angel Reese is a big piece of that. And they're winning national titles in football and women's basketball and then in baseball. And then if you're in the baseball world and they're the first 2 picks in the draft and they sweep the college baseball awards and they're talked about as being one of the best teams of all time. And then you think about Ingrid Lindblad, who I think a lot of you don't know, but if you're in the golf world, you do. She's the #1 amateur in the world. She plays golf like 8 miles down the road. It's probably not even that far. And now you've got Jaden Daniels having the year that he did, the highlight reel plays that he did, and what's going to happen tomorrow in New York, the biggest media market in the world. It's undeniable that LSU's brand is just on fire. Beth Torina said, and I've referenced this a bunch of times, but it's worth repeating. I've been here over a decade. This is as good as it's been to be an LSU Tiger. We just talked to Joe Sloan. A lot of young players pretty interested in these 3 letters. And tomorrow further cements that. I'm not suggesting it's the greatest athletic department to ever exist or that I'd rather have a Heisman Trophy winner and a bunch of Instagram followers to a football national title, which 4 teams are going to play for later. But LSU's got some of those too. It's just a branding thing. And Cody Worsham and Emily Dixon, and all those folks that are in charge of all this kind of stuff have done such a marvelous job, and the athletes have gone out there and done such a great job. It is a cool time to be an LSU Tiger for sure. Come back with hour number 2 coming up next.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson says he'll wait until Sunday to see if quarterback Trevor Lawrence starts against the Browns. Lawrence trying to work through a high right ankle sprain from Monday night's loss against the Bengals. The Steelers have now lost 2 straight at home against 2-win teams. But ESPN's Dan Graziano has words of warning for those wanting to replace coach Mike Tomlin.
This guy operates your organization in admirable ways, in ways you can take pride in. You know you're always going to be prepared. You're always going to be competitive. And yeah, people have bad weeks, bad months, bad years, and maybe he's having obviously a bad stretch, certainly this week. But I do think you have to step back sometimes and think about what would the alternative be.
Dan Graziano on Greeny. Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy says he plans to be on the sidelines for Sunday night's game against the Eagles. McCarthy had his appendix taken out on Wednesday. Celtics center Kristaps Porzingis will be available for tonight's game against the Knicks. He's been out the last 4 games with a left calf strain.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
1 hour to go, at least on the air, for the Hunt Palmer Show this week. I'm headed to Rouse's from 3 to 5. Be hanging out there, Burbank and Lee, giving away some gift cards, shirts, hats. So if you're looking to do your weekend grocery shopping, come on by Rouse's, Burbank and Lee, between 3 and 5 o'clock. I will be there, excited to get out there and enjoy a nice Friday afternoon here in the capital city. Matt's coming up with AFR at 3 o'clock from Legends up in Manhattan, so that'll be a fantastic show coming up. We'll head to New York in 30 minutes. Michael Cobell, WBRZ, Channel 2 here in Baton Rouge, is there. Jaden Daniels is actually meeting with the media right now, so we'll get Cobell's immediate reaction to that. Prior to you being able to see it on the Channel 2 News this evening. Get you ready for the NFL slate here coming up in 15 minutes as well. But we want to start here with LSU and Kansas State basketball tomorrow inside the PMAC. 12:30 tip between LSU and Kansas State. And this is a high-profile non-conference game in the PMAC, which we should celebrate around here because it doesn't happen all that often. This is a Kansas State team that last year made it to the Elite Eight at Madison Square Garden. They lost a 3-point game to Florida Atlantic, who got to the Final Four. They had a couple really, really good players there in Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson, former Florida Gator, who combined for 35 points per game for that Kansas State team under Jerome Tang in the first year under Coach Tang, and they were awesome last year. They've had to reload a little bit. Those two guys are gone. They're a team that is 7-2 on the season. They beat Bellarmine and South Dakota State. They beat Central Arkansas, Oral Roberts, but a couple of nice wins over Providence and Villanova. Incidentally, both of those games went into overtime. They have played 3 overtime games this year, and if you were listening to Derek Young, who was with us yesterday, they've played 9 overtime games under Jerome Tang, and they are 9-0 in those games, 2-0 this season. Their 2 losses this year to Southern Cal in the opener. They lost that game by 13 points. And to Miami, they lost that one by 8 a little earlier this year. So it's a quality basketball team, a quality basketball program. If you weren't listening to the show yesterday, Kansas State has kind of sneakily had a lot of big-name coaches. Bruce Weber was recently there. Of course, you remember Coach Frank Martin was there. Lon Kruger, a Kansas State head coach there as well. So it's been a program that's had a lot of really, really good coaches that have come through there, and they feel like Jerome Tang might be the next one. I'll tell you, this team is pretty good on offense and has pretty mediocre defensive statistics, to be honest. They're 39th in the country in points per game, which is a good number. It's 300-plus teams in the country. To be 39th in points per game is good at this point. They're 25th in offensive rebound percentage this year, so that's somewhere that they've excelled getting to the glass. And they don't turn the ball over very much. They're they turn the ball over a lot because they move really quickly. Misread my stat. They're 258th in the country in turnovers per possession because they go pretty fast. They want to play quickly. They want to get up and down, and they'll try to do that tomorrow. Defensively, they got a lot of statistics that aren't all that great. 115th in defensive efficiency, 201st in steals per possession. That's a concern when you don't have a true point guard for LSU. Opponents' turnovers per possession, 162nd. They're 165th in blocks. None of these statistics defensively stand out to you. Teams get 34% of their points against this Kansas State team from 3, which is is towards the top in terms of size. Like a lot of teams get most of their points from the 3-point line against this team, but it's not a great defensive team. So if I want to talk about this matchup for LSU and Kansas State, it comes down to one thing, really. Can LSU stop anybody at all from dribble penetration? They did a bad job against Nichols, bad job against Southeastern. They did a terrible job against Syracuse. Like, they've been bad at allowing teams to win off the bounce. And when you win off the bounce, a few things happen. One, you get a defense into rotation immediately, so some people are open. Two, your bigs are having to play help side defense. They're getting in foul trouble because they're continually having to contest shots at the rim. You just create far too much availability on the floor for the offense if you can't stop teams on dribble penetration. And this Kansas State team is very, very much guard-oriented. Their top 3 scorers are guards, and they all score about the same. Tyler Perry scores 16.4. He's the point guard. Cam Carter scores 16.4. Exact same. He's their off guard. And Arthur Kaluma scores 16.5. 0.1 point more than those two guys. He's a 6'7" junior wing. This thing starts for LSU in terms of a game plan. You're watching this game on TV tomorrow. If you're going to the PMAC, if you're paying attention to this, it starts one place for LSU defensively, and that's Tyler Perry. You can probably remember his name, Tyler Perry. Not that Tyler Perry, this Tyler Perry. He's got the ball all the time for Kansas State. He's a 5'11" point guard. He's a fifth-year player. He has attempted 80 threes in 9 games. 80. That's 9 threes a game he attempts. And he's shooting 33%. Not only does he shoot 80 threes per game, he's got 50 free throw attempts, which leads the team. So it's not like he's just out there bombs away. No, he's shooting a lot of free throws too. And he's got double the amount of assists as anybody else on this Kansas State roster. He's far and away the assist leader. He shoots a bajillion threes and a lot of free throws. He's got the ball all the time. Mike Williams is 4 years younger than him. So if that's the guy you want to put on him, that seems to me to be a huge advantage to Kansas State in this game. The guy that they want to run through is a fifth-year point guard, and LSU's starting point guard is a freshman. So maybe LSU plays more zone. Maybe they get out and try to do some full-court pressing to get the ball out of Perry's hands and speed Kansas State up. I don't know. But there's a star next to him on my notes about this guy. Now, Cam Carter, if you go to the game tomorrow and you feel like there's a big pocket of Kansas State fans, why are they here? Well, they may be Cam Carter's family. I don't know where his family lives right now, but he's from Donaldsonville. He went to Oak Hill Academy, but the K-State website says he's from Donaldsonville. I don't remember him because if he left Donaldsonville when he was a freshman in high school, I'd have never heard of him. I have no idea, but that's what it says on his bio. He's probably going to have some family and friends there tomorrow, I would guess. He's a 6'3" junior off guard, averages 16.4 points per game. And I mentioned Arthur Kaluma. He leads the team in scoring at 0.1 points per game higher than Perry and Carter. He's a slashing wing who wants to attack and drive the basketball. If LSU lets these 3 guys get going downhill right at Will Baker and right at Jalen Reed, those 2 guys will be in foul trouble like that. And if Jalen Reed and Will Baker are in foul trouble, good luck trying to score some points because they've been the only guys who have shown the propensity to get hot. Reed was excellent in the game against Dayton before he fouled out. And you've seen Baker kind of take over some games at points with his ability to step out and shoot it and get to the rim. This is not a great Kansas State defensive team. And quite frankly, if LSU's gonna win this game, they're going to have to score some points offensively because K-State is. I don't care if LSU plays 2-3. I don't care if they play a 1-2-2, three-quarter court press. I don't care if they play strictly man. I don't care if they switch everything. No matter how you slice it, there's nothing in this matchup that suggests LSU is going to do a great job defensively against Kansas State. They're going to have to keep up scoring. And what have I told you all offseason? I think they're going to score sometimes. Sometimes they're not. Baker had a real hard time with the 7'4" guy from Syracuse. Nobody on Kansas State's team is 7'4". But you're going to have to get him the ball, let him go to work around the rim, and you're going to have to hit some shots from the perimeter. Jordan Wright, talking to you. And Wani Wilkinson from the corner, talking to you. Mike Williams, probably need to throw one in from time to time. Baker, you get an open look or two, knock down that 3, please. Going to need that. They're going to have to score a little bit to keep up. So I'm a little bit apprehensive about the matchup, quite frankly, because of how good these guards have been for Kansas State. But it's not like they're unbeatable. USC and Miami took care of them, and they went to overtime with Providence. They went to overtime with Oral Roberts. They went to overtime with Villanova. They beat Bellarmine by 8. So this is not a team I think is ticketed for the Elite Eight like last year. I just don't love the matchup more than I like the caliber of the opponent. But I'll say this. There's a video that plays before LSU takes the floor in basketball. Right before the starting lineups are played, they got highlights and they've got some sound bites and you got the pyrotechnics going and the lights are off. And Matt McMahon says one thing in that video. It's towards the end. It's a quote from Matt McMahon, and it says, "Instead of waiting until we win to come out, why don't you come out and be a part of us starting to win?" And I'm well aware that there's a sizable portion of you that are disenchanted with the basketball program, that don't like the way the administration handled the investigation, and are just put out with the entire thing. You're waiting on the Heisman Trophy tomorrow, and you're ready for first pitch at the box coming up in February. There are a sizable portion of you that are like that, and if that's your deal, then that's how you feel, and that's great. I would love for this basketball program to get some juice back. And they're not going to do that tomorrow with one game. It's going to be a gradual process with development and recruiting and all that. But if there's any of you out there that are listening going, I don't really have anything to do tomorrow. The game's at 12:30? Go help them out. This is a great opponent that's coming in. It's a non-conference December game, which we don't have a lot of great ones. This is a good one. Think about going out there and supporting the guys tomorrow. This is blind homerism 100%. I love that school. I want the basketball program to excel. I'm not going to beg and plead for you to go watch them play Southeastern or Nichols. And I don't know that I'm begging at this point, but I'm on the border. Go watch them play tomorrow in the PMAC. Support them. See if you can't fill some seats in there, and maybe the guys can't rise up and play a really good basketball game. They've already got a couple of nice wins. They did a nice job in Charleston after blowing a big lead against Dayton. Maybe tomorrow is another step in the right direction. I hope so. 12:30 tip-off tomorrow in the PMAC, LSU and Kansas State. Pre-game at 12 o'clock. It'll be Chris Blair and the voice of Tigers, Chris Blair, and John Brady. You can catch it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. All right, that's my LSU and K-State hoops breakdown. Cobell is with us from New York coming up in 15 minutes. When we come back, get you ready for the NFL schedule that is to wait us on Sunday. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electric. Prevent those power outages at your home with Boudreaux's Electric. Neil and Melissa Boudreaux been running Boudreaux's Electric for 40 years. They're a certified Generac generator dealer, a premier Generac generator dealer. Don't just have anybody come in and throw a generator in your home. Go through the process with Boudreaux's Electric. They'll come out, they'll understand the size of your home as well as what you'd like powered in the event of an outage. At that point, they know what generator is right for you. Then they'll send out a full-time Boudreaux's Electric employee to install your generator. And they're going to do it with the aesthetics of your house in mind. They're going to make sure that they use the highest quality in copper, and they install everything they can underground so that it looks nice. A lot of us take pride in what our home looks like. You don't just want a big honking box out there with wires and tubes everywhere. No. You want it installed correctly and aesthetically in a pleasing way. Boudreaux's Electric, I promise you, will do that. And the other part of this deal is, if you're worried about cost, look, for a 10-year warranty that comes free, you're looking at $5.20 a day for the peace of mind that comes with knowing your power is not going to go out. Give them a call at the new Gonzales location. Opens in 2024, but the phone line's humming. You can call them at 225-300-9389, 225-300-9389. Give them a call. Prevent power outages at your home with Boudreaux's Electric.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before.
Join us for the Monday edition of Live at Lunch. We are at Walk-Ons in Bruley, wrapping up the weekend and the Heisman Trophy. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
A little bit of breaking news here on the Twitter machine. LSU's had another player enter the transfer portal. Quincy Wiggins did so this morning. Marlon Martinez is next for LSU. Versatile offensive lineman, been here for 4 years and never nailed down a starting spot, but certainly has played a good amount as a depth piece for LSU. He'll look elsewhere for his final year of eligibility, kind of probably looking to start somewhere. So disappointing loss for LSU there on the offensive line, I'm certain, but not one of their starters to this point. So you wish Marlon Martinez the best as he takes his abilities somewhere for his final year of eligibility. Michael Cobell is going to be with us from New York coming up here in about 12 minutes or so. But it's NFL week number 14. Let's go. You know the tiers. Tier 1, must-see TV. Tier 2, good stuff. Tier 3, yeah, it's good. It's football. We'll watch it. Tier 4 is really rad. And I've got news for you. I don't have anybody in Tier 4 this week. We got a better slate of games than we maybe had all week here. We'll start in Tier 3. It's not great, but it's watchable. Lions are at the Bears division game. A W gives Detroit its first 10-win season since 2014. On the other side, the Bears have not won back-to-back games under Matt Eberflus yet. That's quality stuff, Coach Eberflus. They won last week. If they can win this week against the Lions, call that a winning streak, but I don't think it's going to happen. The Colts are at the Bengals. Bengals loss would mean they have a 3% chance to make the playoffs, according to ESPN. I certainly hope that's the case. What were they doing winning last weekend? I'm trying to get draft picks over here, not win football games, but they did win last week behind Jake Browning. He's got to come back to earth. Come on, Jake. Throw me some picks. Texans are at the Jets. Battle of number 2 overall picks. Zach Wilson, not so good. CJ Stroud, actually very good. Stroud leads the NFL in passing yards, and Zach Wilson wants to sit out, but he'll probably play. Vikings are at the Raiders. Justin Jefferson is back. Josh Jacobs has been awesome under Antonio Pierce. He's running for 90 yards a game since Pierce took over as the Raiders head coach. That leads the NFL. However, the Vikings have not allowed a running back over 65 yards all season. I really need that to happen because Jacobs is on my fantasy team, and it's the last week of the regular season. Broncos at Chargers rounds out Tier 3. The Chargers have only given up 20 points total in the last 2 games. It helps when you can play New England and they don't score any, but they only give up 20 to the Ravens, who average 30 a game. Russell Wilson has thrown a touchdown in 16 straight games. That sound familiar? Another quarterback that threw for a touchdown in a lot of consecutive games under a certain coach. Those were the days. All right, Tier 2. This is better football. Good stuff here. The Rams are at the Ravens. Baltimore leads the NFL in sacks by 5. Justin Madubuike, A&M product. Jadeveon Clowney, obviously a South Carolina product. Very, very good. But Stafford's been great all year at getting the ball out. One of the quickest snap-to-release times in the NFL. The Rams are 0-3 against the spread as an underdog in their last 3 tries. So if you're a betting person, maybe the Rams are not the pick for you, because they are underdogs at Baltimore. The Bucs are at the Falcons. This game's not going to be good, and quite frankly, probably deserves to be in Tier 3 or Tier 4, but the NFC South's so atrocious that it has so many implications, I've got to put it in Tier 2. Mike Evans, not atrocious. Actually very good and headed to the Hall of Fame. 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons for Mike Evans of my fantasy team. He trails only Jerry Rice in that statistic. A.J. Terrell and Jeff Aduka, the 2 corners for Atlanta, are questionable, so Evans could have a monster day in Atlanta. Jaguars at the Browns. This could be Joe Flacco and C.J. Beathard. If Flacco starts and he wins, he'll be the 4th quarterback to win for Cleveland this year. How does that happen? Seattle's at San Francisco. What you got there, Beck?
Defense.
Oh, that's true. That is how that happens. Good answer, Beck. Way to chime in. Seattle's at San Francisco. This is their second meeting in 18 days. Seattle's lost 3 straight games, and San Francisco torched Philly last week. Seattle did win 17 of 21 against San Francisco from 2012 to 2021. In the last 4, San Francisco's won them all by a combined total of 120 to 56. I think it's fair to call that a transfer of power in the NFC West. And then Tier 1, the best football of the day on Sunday. Even though the Bills are 6-6, I'm still putting Bills at Chiefs in Tier 1. I think it's going to be great football because these 2 quarterbacks can really play. The Bills have won at Arrowhead the last 2 seasons, and in those 2 games, Josh Allen has thrown 6 touchdowns and no interceptions. Both of these teams are winless when they're allowing over 20 points this year. That shocked me that the Chiefs and Bills, as much as they can score, or you think they can score, when they allow over 20, they lose at this point. So that's crazy to me. And then the big one on Sunday is the Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. First place is on the line in the NFC East. Dak has won 4 straight against Philadelphia in Arlington. And listen to this for Jalen Hurts. Only Cam Newton has 2 seasons in an NFL career of 20 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns. Jalen Hurts needs 1 passing touchdown to join him there, and he'd be the first in the history of the league to do it in back-to-back seasons. He's on my fantasy team, too. We need that to happen in Arlington. That is Week 14 around the NFL. We still got plenty to get to here over the next 25 minutes or so. I want to remind you about Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Love to talk about them on our Friday shows. Beck was talking about it off the air a little bit earlier. Checked into Corks and knocked down a catfish po' boy, which apparently was quite nice.
Very good.
Look, they got great po' boys. I always tell you about their fried shrimp, their fried catfish, their awesome French fries, and the slaw. They've also got po' boys. If you got a hankering for one of those tend to hit me like on Sunday, like after church at times. Cork's got you covered. Government between Jefferson and Foster. CorksFishandShrimp.com. The Bedinka brothers brought you Kuyons across the river in Port Allen. They've also got your food trucks around town, but they are also the proprietors here of Cork's new food concept here in Baton Rouge, and we love telling you about them here on our Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. When we come back, we'll head up to the Big Apple. Michael Cobell is next.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is that website. David Duvall and his team been redesigning, remodeling bathrooms and closets for 30-plus years. Look, if you've got an aging loved one or you're yourself aging and the bathroom can be a bit of a hazardous place, One Bath and Closets can really help you out with that. They can put in nonstick floors. They can put in handrails near some trouble spots in the bathroom, like the bathtub, the toilet area. They can put in a walk-in tub for more convenience and a safer intro and exit from the bathtub. Let them come in and show you what they can do for you in your home. If you're concerned about payments, look, they can put financing plans together for you at One Bath and Closets. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. You'll see testimonials of their satisfied customers. You'll see pictures of their fantastic work, and you can request that free consultation I tell you about every day on this show. David Duvall will come over, start with a questionnaire, understand what your needs are and what they can do for you, and they will get that project done on time. They'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Check out their great work. Request that free consultation at onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-90.
This Sunday, as we bring you 3 different NFL games, we'll kick things off with our noon kickoff. It's the Jaguars and Browns. Immediately following that, it's Bills and Chiefs, and then our nightcap, the Eagles at Cowboys. Tune in to hear all 3 of those games here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
A lot going on in the Big Apple today. There were some chicken fingers being served up at Cane's a little earlier. That's courtesy of the Heisman Trophy winners. There's been some media availability pictures in Times Square, pictures with the trophy. And there for, I'm assuming all of it, has been Michael Cobell with WBRZ Channel 2. He joins us now from Manhattan on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Cobell, how are you, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I am. Hang on one second, hon. I'm trying to do a couple of different things here. Same time tomorrow, 5:45. Great. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm back.
He's back.
Logistically line things up. It's a circus, as you might expect.
So, are you a New York fan?
Am I? No, I'm not a New York fan. No, I'm not a big city guy. I mean, I can appreciate them, but I am not. I'm not here for all of it. No, I just want to get in, do my thing, and get out.
Like, I had some friends who graduated college and went up there to do the get your intro job, go out every night, live 4 to 100 square feet, and they all loved it. That would not be for me. But if I'm going up there for a Friday to Sunday, I love New York, especially in December. This is a work trip for you, but nothing good about it in terms of the environment, the energy.
No, yeah, I mean, you can appreciate the things. I'm more of a slower paced. I love the history of New York. I would actually love to delve into the early history of New York. There's just a lot going on, man. Like, it took an hour to get from the airport to town last night.
Yeah.
I wanted to kill my taxi driver about 5 different times. So we got the only non-aggressive New York taxi driver apparently last night. So I'm like, dude, we got to go. Like, I'm like, stomping my own foot through the floorboard. But no, it's something I think that people should see and do. But and you're right, in December it has its unique charm about it, but it also has a very unique smell.
Yes.
My wife and I were talking about it today, and she said some dude on the street said it's a combination of hot dog water and weed.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, that might be it, actually.
And the massive piles of trash that are just on the street. Like, that doesn't happen in Chicago. That's not part of the deal. But in New York, they just put all the trash on the street. It's something. It's a lot. So has it been like herding cats up there today with the Heisman guys? They're ushering them all over the place?
Absolutely, right? And you feel for them to some extent, too, because they really are just ushered from speaking engagement to speaking engagement. This is definitely the longest Jaden Daniels had to stop and speak in front of the media. I would say ever. Probably not even SEC Media Days did he go as long as he talked with us today. So it was good, though. They had a cool little event, as you said, with Todd Graves and Raising Cane's. They got that hammered out. So that was cool. And, it was neat to kind of see them and see Jaden relax a little bit. I think you can feel kind of some of the weight of the season, and getting to the finish line kind of thing. He's done everything he could do, right? So I think there's a little bit of that, and he gets to relax a little bit and share a little bit more of his story, which is fun. It's always good when you get to feel like you talk to the people about some things that don't relate to a game, right? You just kind of get to learn a little bit more about the person himself.
You've covered him start to finish here. What has this year been like from the start into where it was all Heisman all the time, and then just watching him on the field? What's that been like from up close?
It's just been remarkable. I mean, you can't say enough about the job that he, his teammates, and his coaches have done this year. And Hunt, you know this. I mean, think about it, and I asked him about this today. Think about last year, when he got here, it was, this dude, all he does is run the ball. He doesn't read the defense. He's not going to throw it. He's going to tuck it and run. Or he can't throw it. He's inaccurate, right? Well, okay, so season starts and, FSU right out of the gate. It's like, holy crap, good thing this dude can run, right?
Yep.
So, just to see his maturation. And then I think that the most impressive thing is just the work that he and his trainer, that he and his quarterback coach, Joe Sloan, that he and whoever did to develop the game plan, that once he committed to coming back, and the work needed to be a different player. As he said, he didn't want to come back and be the same player. And man, did he not, right? Like he did everything that he could possibly do to improve his portion of the responsibility. And he did it, man. And I think, Hunt, the interesting thing is if we hadn't had Joe Burrow, I mean, this would be the Joe Burrow kind of moment, right? But we're so close to what we just saw in Joe that we're seeing it again, albeit a little differently, right? Sure, Jaden does a lot more with his legs, but just to be at such a high level, such a high efficiency level, it's unreal, and we're frankly spoiled because it's been so close to Joe that we kind of forgot just how rare air, that is.
When Joe walked off the field in Tuscaloosa, it was cooked. He was going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. And that team had the goal of winning a national championship. There was more to that story. This story was basically over from a championship perspective on the same field in Tuscaloosa, but at that point, all eyes focused to, can he win the Heisman? And I know y'all asked him about it every week. Can you think back to 2019? Did y'all have the same questions for Joe, or was this a little bit of a different vibe?
No, it was a totally different vibe because the team had a lot more at stake, and it was all about the team and the accomplishments that you have with the team. But the tentpole isn't here for this team, right? So it's literally just about what can this guy accomplish? What can Malik accomplish? What can the offensive line potentially accomplish? What could Mike Denbrock accomplish? So it goes to the individual accolades that you could pull out. And the other side is dude, nobody wanted to talk about the defense. Like, there's only so many ways you can say they stink. So you got to start talking about the positives on the team and trying to find some, ray of sunshine. And it was a solar flare of sunshine, coming from Jaden. So yeah, why wouldn't we gravitate towards that? It was exactly what, we needed, right? And I just think it's remarkable the way the stars aligned for this thing to come to fruition. Again, you think about him transferring from ASU and, the turmoil that went with that and just the journey that he's been on. And he's not a real loud dude. Joe wasn't a real loud dude. So it's kind of been this slow burn to this point. But it's definitely been different when you think about the roller coaster of his Heisman campaign and when we all thought he was, going to do it, and then a couple of losses, and now he's out of the picture, and then working his way back in with just these spectacular plays and moments. I asked him today what he thought his Heisman moment was, and he said he didn't have one. I asked him about the Missouri game because, to me, that epitomizes him doing what it takes to get the job done. Right? Banged up ribs. Now put me back in. Oh, you're going to call a quarterback run. Right, as soon as I go back in, great, but I'll do it, yeah. And he did it. He did it to perfection, right? Just move the offense right down the field. I still, to this day, can't believe that there was not a flag on that late hit.
Yeah, that was late in the end zone. I said at the time, hey, I'm not going to fault the guy for trying to make a play defensively at the goal line, but it was certainly late. And I would argue with Jaden, hey, where were you when you went 85 yards against Florida and then followed it up an hour later with a 50-plus yard touchdown run? Those don't happen very often. I'm sorry, that was pretty good.
And it really is he's on skates. Whether it be ice skates, figure skates, whatever kind of skates, it's like he is just gliding past these dudes. And his ability to flow, I think, is what is most impressive to me in those situations. He feels the pressure. He flows away from it like a rhythmic dancer to some degree. I mean, he's so fluid. And it's really, again, if we hadn't had Joe in such close proximity, I think we just really would have been amazed even more at what he's been able to accomplish this year.
You talked to Jay Clark, you talked to Kim Mulkey, you talked to Jay Johnson, you talked to Brian Kelly, you talked to all these coaches throughout the year. When I think about Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow and Paul Skeens and Angel Reese, and they're all transfers. And this run over 5 years with national championships and individual award winners and Instagram followers and dollars and cents, LSU's a powerful deal right now. What do you sense that the athletic department feels about that? And is there any coach that's kind of given you any indication of what it's been like over the last 5 years and what it's like right now recruiting to these three letters in the purple and gold?
I mean, I think it is the brand, right? It's kind of how LSU is even positioning itself. It's such there's just a lot of uniqueness to it, right? Let's just think about it. Single flagpole university in the state. Iconic letters, iconic colors. When you see that uniform, you know exactly what it is. Iconic players in Shaquille O'Neal, before. So, there's just this, even if people only know LSU from the periphery, when they hear it, it's like an old familiar song, and they're ready to dance with it. And it's a ton of fun, right? That LSU does a great job of selling what it is. Passionate sports fans, right? And when it's great, it's amazing. When it's bad, it can be pretty rough. But it's been great, and they've had a lot of things to latch onto. You talked about those players. You can take a player and you can elevate them to a superstar status at LSU because they've made that commitment. Dude, you may not see it like I see it. They have a ton of camera guys.
Yeah.
Like a ton of camera girls. They sink so much money into their social, and they just try to get this product out there. I mean, they have their own show on, ESPN or whatever. They got the Path on TV, and I know AM's done the same thing, but there's a reason why they're committed to doing that, because again, it just furthers the brand, gives you the insight. I don't know what their ROI is on all that. It may be in those players that you mentioned and their ability to bring them in and compete for championships, to elevate the programs to compete for national championships. Certainly it's worked, right? We're seeing the fruits of their labor. But it's a real credit to the people that spearhead that. It's not by accident. And the cool thing that I think, just knowing a lot of them that work on that, it seems very collaborative. And I think that's awesome that they all, have a voice and some pitch in.
I'm a little embarrassed. I don't know where the ceremony is tomorrow, but my question is, where is it? And then what is y'all's access? What can y'all do as far as getting some stuff?
Here's a real wet sandwich. So we learned this the last time when we came for Joe. We actually don't get to go to the ceremony.
Really?
We're never going to see the dude lift the trophy. We'll see him afterwards. It's crazy. We talked to him before and we talked to him after, but we don't get to go to the ceremony, which I get it. It's a pretty exclusive little event, and they're going to try to fundraise to some degree because it is still part of that, keeping this thing rolling. But so the event is at the Lincoln Center. It's going to start at 7:00 Baton Rouge time. And they sent like a tentative rundown. I don't know that they're going to announce the winner. It says at 7:50.
Yeah, that's how it usually goes.
That seems super late. I thought Joe's was a little bit more towards the middle.
They got to have all of them up there with the parents and let either Reese Davis or Fowler or whatever talk about them, and they do that whole deal and go to commercials. And they announce it, they do the speech, and then they close it up.
Yeah, so I guess maybe just because Joe's speech was so impactful last time we did this, but that's really the only one I paid attention to. Right. I'll be honest as well, right? But so impactful that it just felt like it was a little bit more, and they lingered on it. But no, it's cool, man. We got to meet with them today. I feel bad, dude. Like, there's so many Louisiana people here, and nobody else covering. I don't know. Ohio State maybe had one guy.
Yeah.
Talking to Marvin, Oregon had 2 or 3, 4 maybe, and Washington has 4 or 5. I mean, there's a healthy 30 people gathered around Jaden, and I think that kind of speaks to the inevitability of what we all expect to happen tomorrow. It felt a lot closer. It's incredible how the Pac-12 title game sunk those two dudes' chances at this thing, because we were all sweating it out. Oh, they're going to have this extra opportunity, and it worked the exact opposite way. It really is. Like I said, serendipitous, whatever, the stars aligning. It's just remarkable the way that this whole story has unfolded around this kid.
No question about it. Should be a lot of fun. John's Bleecker Street for some really good pizza up there if you're in the mood tonight to cobble.
No, I heard that pizza's not a thing here. They don't do pizza.
Get some gumbo.
On every corner. Pizza on every corner. Look, halal guys. I don't know what that is, but my kid's been watching YouTube videos. He wants some chicken and rice. There's all kinds of stuff here, man. And I'm telling you, it's hey, I almost got in a fight last night.
Oh, great.
My kid got all upset because Dad was yelling at some guy to get out of the way. So there was a lot going on, my man. There's like I said, it's a big city. There's something for everyone.
Between the cab ride and that interaction, we need to get you home. I think it's enough. Just stay safe up there, Cobble, and we'll be watching Channel 2. Thanks for a little bit of time.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Michael Cobble, sports director, WBRZ Channel 2 up there in New York, trying to avoid acts of violence, apparently, as he traipses around Manhattan. We'll come back and close it out with a little take it or leave it. And my last pick for Saints and Panthers. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Been thinking about joining FanDuel? No better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. Visit FanDuel.com/1045ESPN and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame moneyline wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues, knowledgeable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone who has a gaming problem wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks.
Join me for a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show presented by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Ready for Saints Panthers? Ready for LSU K-State? They're giving away a trophy in New York. We might as well talk about it. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 1045 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Awesome crispy fried catfish, jumbo Gulf shrimp, recipe born in the seafood capital of the world, South Louisiana. Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp, bringing you our Friday shows each and every week. We got to pick Saints Panthers, but first, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All right, first one here. We've got LSU baseball. They're going to play 5 games during our show in 2024. Take it or leave it.
Guess you got to take it. Somehow, some way, Jay, has decided that he's going to play some 2 o'clock games on Fridays, Mondays, Tuesdays, which is prioritizing player safety, prioritizing warmer temperatures, not prioritizing the Hunt Palmer Show. That's seems to be misplaced priorities. I think that we should probably look towards this show with a little more closer eye, but that's what he wants to do to try to win national championships. I guess he will do it. By the way, the baseball schedule's up if you want to go look at it. They're playing all day games in February, so any midweek Friday game in February is going to be in the afternoon. So it is what it is.
Chad Jones Jr. had a big sack in the state championship game last night in the Dome. You are old, Hunt. Take it or leave it.
I got to take it. I had classes with Chad Jones at LSU, and he's now got a kid making sacks in high school. So, yes, I do feel rather old.
LeBron James was asked last night if he's too old to be taking charges. His reply was, quote, "Not for the $500,000, I ain't." LeBron sacrificing his body for $500,000. Take it or leave it.
I guess in an era of like guys not playing and opting out and demanding trades or whatever, you should definitely praise guys for playing as hard as they can. So I'm not going to get on him for that, but like I still am not going to get on board with the NBA play-in season tournament. I do not agree that LeBron James needs $500,000 or wants $500,000 desperately. I believe he wants to own a basketball team eventually, and I think that if you own a basketball team and there are more ways to generate money, including a make-believe tournament in December that you'd like to be a part of that makes more money and you think you can help that along the way, then fire away. That's where I think he is, so I'll take it.
Last one here. We've got the Army and Navy game, and the total is 27.5. Cashing the over. Take it or leave it.
Take it. Give me the over. Look.
You're an over guy, Hunt.
Look, I am an over guy. And these games have gone under like 17 out of 18 or 14 out of 15, whatever the case may be. It always goes under. But that number is remarkably low, and they're going to score some touchdowns, and they're going to go over. So give me the over in Army-Navy. I'm not going to watch it, but you can give me the over.
I'm taking the under. I'm an under guy, especially when it comes to these games where the total is that low. Like, come on, man.
You're a big Iowa guy?
Yes.
Love the Hawks?
How many? I mean, I don't think they ever had an over this season. I think they were under.
How could you have an over
if
you never
can't score? Doesn't matter.
Give me the over on RV-Navy. All right, let's pick Saints and Panthers. Let's do it.
New Orleans Saints. Final pick.
This is a big one for the Saints, whether you're looking short term, like trying to win the division, whether you're looking long term, the outlook of the franchise and the people in charge in the franchise. You win this game, you keep limping along, and you know that one of the other two teams in the division is going to lose because they play each other. You lose this game, and I firmly believe there will be a change made before the end of my show on Monday. Whether that's the head coach, the offensive coordinator, something's changing if you can't beat the Panthers, who are awful. The Panthers are bottom 4 in the league in points per game, passing yards per game, yards per game. They're not that good at running the ball. They're 7th to last in the league. But the Saints' defense has not played well. They're middle of the pack in yards per game allowed. They're near the bottom of the league in rushing yards allowed, sacks per game, sacks percentage, first quarter defense, fourth quarter defense. All they do is force turnovers well. So they need to do that against a rookie quarterback in Bryce Young. Force him into some bad plays and give your offense a short field. Sounds like Derek Carr is still in concussion protocol as we sit here right this second. We'll see if he plays. Maybe it's Jameis. Going to have Kamara out there with Olave. You may not have Taysom. It's a mash unit on offense a little bit, but you ought to be able to move the ball on Carolina. The Dome is going to be a powder keg on Sunday. If things go poorly in the first half, the cheers from what were the Lions fans last week aren't going to show up because nobody from Carolina is coming to this game. So all it is just going to be boos, okay? Maybe that takes a little bit of backseat because they know Carr's hurt, but it's not going to be good if you fall behind Carolina. I've been down on this Saints team for a month now. I'm still down on this Saints team. I do think on Sunday they show up and play one of their best games of the year because Carolina's bad and their backs are against the wall and you've got to have it. Turn those drives and eating up yards into some points and get a couple of turnovers against an atrocious offense and put the game to bed. I've got the Saints 30, Carolina 14. I think the Saints get a big win on Sunday. I haven't picked anything like this all year. If it goes poorly, it's a whole different discussion, short-term and long-term. If it goes the way I think it does, we just drag this thing out a little bit longer. But I think the Saints get it done against the worst team in football coming up on Sunday. That's it for a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show presented by Corks. Had a great interview with Joe Sloan a little bit earlier. That'll be on our Hunt on LSU YouTube page. Preston Guy was with us in hour number 1. Michael Cobell with us as well. We played some Take It or Leave It and got you ready for the NFL slate on Sunday. Looking forward to LSU and K-State on tomorrow in the PMAC. We'll be talking about it on Monday. It's time to toss things up to Manhattan. Matt's at Legends in New York, getting ready for the Heisman. Have a good weekend. See you Monday. Hunt Palmer Show.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now,